On today's video, in place of a G.I. Joe rundown, we're going to look at my top 10 best G.I. Joe figures of 2024.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video, we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite G.I. Joe figures from 2024. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because I've made the decision to cancel the G.I. Joe rundown because I had been doing them every year, but every year they're getting less and less views. And then this year's rundowns for Transformers Studio Series, and for Marvel Legends, they performed okay, but not really great. Especially the Transformers ones significantly underperformed. So I'm kind of having an issue with the amount of hours it takes to put together a rundown. And then I was looking at last year's 2023 rundown and realizing, yeah, not that many people showed up to that either. If it's going to get the same views as an average video, should I put 50 to 60 hours of work into making it? At the moment, no. So ultimately, I did decide that I'm not going to be doing the G.I. Joe rundowns going forward. It does seem like, people are just not as interested in that format at the moment. I think also with G.I. Joe, the fandom, while there was a big explosion of it when it first started, it has started to get a little bit nicher, I think. And so people that are collecting it don't need a recap per se because they've been collecting it. It's kind of like you're an in or you're out moment, I think, for the line. And also, the line is so fantastic that to do it proper coverage, again, would take me like 50, 60 hours of work to film everything properly, to edit it all together, to do all that. So I decided instead, this time, we're just going to do a top 10 of 2024 G.I. Joes. And we're going to start with a couple honorable mentions because they didn't make the list. It's Retro Cobra Commander and Retro Duke. Good anniversary time to get them out. I think this is a great Duke. I think it's a great Cobra Commander. I just didn't put them on the top 10 because I liked everything else on there more. There's a ton of great figures in this line. They're just stellar. Like, almost every release is, like, really, really good. So it's kind of hard to pick and choose. But I picked 10, and I picked 10 releases. It's not 10 figures. It's 10, like, here's how they were sold to put on the list, just from personal qualifications mostly. Some of them are just nostalgia pulls, I'm being totally honest. But I did want to put this together as kind of like, let's recap the year. And if this does well, then I'll do that for 2025. I'll do a top 10 as opposed to a full rundown. Also, as a bonus, if you stick around past the top 10, there will be a collection tour because I just set up my G.I. Joe display in a really big, dramatic way for the first time. So I'm going to show that off as well. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more G.I. Joe on the channel, please hit the like button, because the only G.I. Joe video that's done well in the last couple years has been the comic book video, which is great because I love talking about comic books. But, the toy stuff, not so much. So I'm kind of like not going to make as much G.I. Joe videos if the viewership support isn't there. So if you like G.I. Joe and you want to see me do more G.I. Joe, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe notification bell if you aren't subscribed already. Really do appreciate that. Helps the videos, helps the channel, helps us keep doing what we do here. So on that note, we're going to go through the top 10 and then take a look at my collection for G.I. Joe classified in 2024. All right, number 10 is Once a Man Cobra Commander. This was the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Cobra Commander where he's in his mutated snake form when Serpentor mutated him after kicking him out in G.I. Joe the movie. So you got like the partial like snake form. He also has like a broken head mask. And then you get the full snake form, which is really fun. This is a nice throwback to G.I. Joe the movie. It's also a good reuse of the Cobra Commander legs from the Retro Collection version, which is a good figure. I just didn't put it on here because I thought, yeah, let's just do one Cobra Commander. And this one's the more interesting one, I think. The Retro one is very good, but this is just a cool set. There's a bunch of accessories besides this, but I really like it, despite the fact I don't have a place on my shelf for this because I just have the regular Cobra Commander up there. Because he kind of fits the overall display at the moment. But I love getting more throwbacks to the G.I. Joe movie because it is just a thing I really like, and more people have come to appreciate it, I think, in recent years, which is super awesome. And it's a great figure. Now, the only problem with this figure and why he's at number 10 is because he was like impossible to get. For whatever reason, they sold him at Comic-Con. They limited him to, like, I think you could only buy, like, 1 or 2 on the first couple days of the convention. But then on the third day of the convention, people were able to buy as many as they wanted. And then when they put him up on Hasbro Pulse following Comic-Con, they put up the orders and the pre-orders and stuff, and you could order up to 5. And so it just, like, blinked out of existence almost immediately. I didn't get one. I was stuck in cart loops forever, cart glitching. And then they had to do another production run, and then I snagged that, but that also sold out like super quick. It's kind of annoying when there's toys that obviously have a demand, and it's just like, just make more of that thing that has demand, and they don't. So that's kind of why it's number 10. But overall, I think as a figure, he's terrific. All right, number 9 is Wreckage and the Tiger Paw ATVs. This is the Tiger Force set for Target. This guy doesn't really have like a ton of significance in the overall sense of G.I. Joe. So this guy's always been kind of like the G.I. Joe repaint of Firefly, done up in Tiger Force. And the reason I put this guy so high on the list at 9, the fact he's on the list at all, is because I just really love Wreckage. And the reason I love Wreckage is because as a kid, I had Wreckage's original Tiger Force toys. So because of that, I had like nostalgic connection. And then he came with an ATV, which is really awesome. This ATV is the same as the Cobra Ferret, which would have been on the list, except, you know, putting the same vehicle on twice would have been kind of silly. But, you know, it rolls really nice. It's got like a shocks to it. The vehicles are really nice overall. But yeah, this guy, you know, he wasn't too hard to get, I don't think. I mean, I know he sold out. I didn't see him in stores. He might have actually been harder to get than I thought. But Wreckage is at least a new character in the Tiger Force line, which I really like. And I like that he's a good reuse of Firefly. It's also the reason I'm using the original classified Firefly on the shelf versus the more retro-y inspired one, because this is the more retro-y inspired mold. And so it's kind of like, you know, your Wreckage can look more distinct that way. But yeah, I really do like Wreckage just as a nice nostalgic throwback, and I thought he was a cool set, especially with this vehicle. Like, they made a pretty good pair, and it's honestly really cool. I'm glad we got him because he's one of the Tiger Force guys I had as a kid. It would have been nice if they could make the others, but it doesn't seem like they're doing any more Tiger Force at the moment, it seems. All right, at number 8, we got Retro Scarlet. Now, this is a really nice figure because we finally got like what I think is probably the best base body mold for female G.I. Joes. We've had some good ones. Helix is pretty good. I liked CoverGirl a lot. But this is really kind of like our huge step forward. And they used this mold 3 times in 1 year. It was Scarlet, it was Glenda, and it was Quarrel, which are all, you know, they originally used the Scarlet mold, so it all makes sense. But the way they got, you know, double joint elbows, double joint knees, and just kind of thicker body proportions in ways that make her more stable. Larger feet, thicker thighs. It helps balance out the upper torso in a way that the other female molds have kind of struggled with. And this is definitely a good improvement over the first Scarlet in terms of stability. It is, of course, the retro design. It looks, you know, pretty much just like the 80s cartoon / 80s toy. I think my only complaint is that the torso has only like that much movement and it can't go like a full crunch. But you know what? Honestly, it's just a huge step up, and they've already started reusing this in really smart ways. And I'm kind of hoping that the female characters are going to continue to get really solid releases like this, because I think that's one of the things that G.I. Joe has struggled with, is its lack of female characters, and now we're getting more of them. It's nice that they're getting really solid figures as well, especially like that her arms aren't like kind of string bean arms. They actually have some thickness to them that allows the joints to work better. And so I'm really glad to see kind of this step forward. And that's why I'm going to put her on the list. This is not the last time you'll technically see this mold on the list, but as a standalone figure, pretty dang solid. Number 7, we have Storm Shadow. This is the version 2 Storm Shadow from the original toy line. This is the time when Storm Shadow joined the G.I. Joe team, and I loved that story arc in Larry Hama's G.I. Joe comics, and so I was really, really excited to get this figure because this is something I'd wanted. It was kind of what we kind of got it with Arctic Mission Storm Shadow in the first year of the line, but this is just a terrific figure, and he turned out really nice. I think my only complaints is that his skirt pieces do sort of restrict him a little bit, and I do really wish we could get another bow mold. This compound bow is fine, but it comes warped a lot of the times when we do get it, and I do wish we had a bow that was in a pulled back firing position. It's something that other companies have done, where, you know, like even like Bandai's Anime Heroes with Usopp's slingshot, is that, you know, characters that have like a bowstring, you can only pose them so much when it's in the default position. Like, you need a pulled out version so that way you can have them in a, you know, pulled back ready to fire pose. Not necessarily that that part needs to fire, but if it's pulled back, then you can have like the arrow and the pull back, and then that's like an alternate piece. Like, basically every archery based character in action figures, I personally think, should come with 2 different bows. One that's in a standard like collapsed form, and then one that's pulled back with the arrow. It can all be one molded piece. That way you can do the poses you want to do. Other than that, which is, you know, kind of an industry problem more than anything, pretty solid figure overall, and it's a version of Storm Shadow I was really wanting to be done right, and I think they did a really, really solid job with him. At number 6, we have Quick Kick. Now, he is the least practically dressed G.I. Joe character of all time. And I think that while I do like the modern updates typically to the G.I. Joe figures as opposed to straight 80s design, I think this works. They give him a lot of extra texture and detail, like on his pants and like the sash here with the ninja stars on it. Quick Kick is a weird, wacky character, but I really do like him. He's got a lot of personality. I like that you can store the nunchucks on the back of his belt. These are reused from Nunchuck. And then I love the chocolate bar, because that's very character specific, especially the cartoon with like him in the chocolate bar. So I like that they give you a fully molded and painted chocolate bar to go with him. And then he comes with a ton of extra accessories. He's got swords, he's got a backpack, he's got a bunch of hands. Like, they really make the figure worthwhile. And the articulation range on him is really solid, so you can get him into whatever pose you're looking for, which is really important. I love when the figures come with a ton of accessories. It's part of the reason why making a rundown would be a crap ton of work. But I really do like the overall look to the figure, and I think he turned out stellar. He just is a really good figure, and I don't have any complaints with him. Number 5 is the Dragonfly. The only complaint I have with this one is it's kind of too big. If you can see it in my display here, it's really large. Now, let me run some footage from the canceled rundown. But basically, the Dragonfly looks beautiful. It has so much detail to it. The rotor spins, the extra weight. You can attach the missiles with effect parts. It's really, really damn cool. And it's honestly like one of the best looking HasLabs, because the G.I. Joe team really doesn't know how to pack value into them. I will say its size is probably its biggest problem. But what's not a problem is its pack-in figures. Wild Bill is terrific and a great version of the character, and hopefully there's like a retro card version for everyone that didn't get the Dragonfly to get him, because he's really, really cool. We had Crazy Legs, who was pretty solid, nice like kind of jumper guy for Night Force colors. We also had Night Force Ripcord, who's really, really awesome. I loved all the detail in his accessories as well. But the winner for me out of the 4 figures was Glenda. She was originally an Argentinian exclusive G.I. Joe character that's had a couple versions since. She's a redo of the Retro Scarlet, which is a great figure. And I just really liked the way she looked, the uniqueness to it, the way she came with alternate hair pieces. Just a really terrific set. Overall, the Dragonfly is just a solid, solid release into G.I. Joe Classified. Number 4 is the Vamp, which came with Clutch, and it's in the back of my display, and I don't want to pull it out. But this is a really cool set because you not only get Clutch, who is a fully formed figure with full accessory loadout, you also get a vehicle that can fit 2 figures inside, and I've figured out how to put 2 more on the outside. It's a pretty neat set. I'm going to put a stock image up, so that way we're not just looking at that. But the fact this came out for like $100 on Pulse was kind of amazing, because vehicles have always been this kind of absurdly expensive thing in the 6-inch action figure world. And that didn't feel too bad. I was like, $100? No problem. And then they later redid it as the Stinger for Cobra, and it was pretty great. And I was like, that's a cool way to do this vehicle twice, and I think really great job all around. So number 3 is Jinx. Speaking of good female figures, there's a lot of them this year. Jinx is definitely part of that. She doesn't reuse anything from Scarlet, but she reuses the same design ideas. Larger feet, thicker knee joints, thicker arm joints. She also has alternate hands. She has alternate head options, so you could have her like with the full headscarf thing. You could have this bandana, or you could just have her unmasked, where she looks gorgeous. Really cool tattoo detail. Really like the fact that this Jinx is kind of like a hybrid of the original design in a way, but also the Energon Universe design that we saw in the Scarlet comic. But a lot of cool, like, you know, it's not just one iteration of Jinx, but it has actually several. Comes with a bunch of hands, comes with a bunch of weapons. Like, this is a fully featured figure in a lot of great ways, and I love to see stuff like that. Really just can't say anything, you know, there's nothing bad. I think this is like a 100% a win. I guess the only bad thing is that her torso joint is completely useless. That's becoming an issue, I think, with a lot of Hasbro figures, but other than that, pretty solid figure overall. Really do like her. I love the way they integrated the butterfly shoulders. It's not much, but it is a little bit of butterfly movement, which is really, really nice to see, and that's even an upgrade over Scarlet. So, yeah, I put her so high because I've really wanted Jinx for a while in this line, and I'm glad they took their time, because she's the best she probably could have been at any other point in the Italians' history. Number 2 is Raptor. Now, Raptor is kind of a sillier G.I. Joe character. He's an accountant, but he wears, like, big bird wings. For the classified version, they just went full tactical gear. They gave him wings that look like a mixture of the MCU Vulture wings mixed with like MCU Falcon and Captain America wings. And they actually did such a terrific job with this. So the figure itself pretty solid. You know, everything's, you know, really good there. He's got like the knife, the gun, he's got the claws, he's got his bird here for stuff. But the wing pack, what I find impressive about it is that it is more articulated and sturdier than any of the like MCU like mechanical wings on Marvel Legends that we've seen. Because while this joint is very similar, it's just somehow stiffer. But they actually put pins at the important flex points, so that way you can get the wings down, you can get the wings up, you can pivot them forward and back. They can actually fold on top of each other into kind of like cool configurations. It's really, really impressive, and it kind of almost in a way shows up the Marvel Legends team. I haven't had a chance to get their new Captain America and Falcon yet. As of time of filming, you don't have them yet, but kind of hoping that they took some notes from this, because this is just, it's kind of wild. And for a character that they, you know, is one of the sillier G.I. Joe characters, they took on the challenge to make him cool, and they totally succeeded, and they're totally doing it with Crystal Ball as well. But yeah, you can get this guy into like some really cool, like using the wings as shield posing and all that. The wing pack is the reason he's so high, and also just the overall value, because I think that, you know, for a deluxe price point, he does feel worth it because of the wings. And the figure itself is really solid. I don't have his dumb bird hood on here, but you could put the bird hood on him if you want. Just also some crazy paint detail, like they painted like the tattoo on his back, like underneath the shirt that you can't even see it most times. Like that is the level of detail that you come to expect from the line, and that's why he's so high up, because he's just so dang cool. It should come as no surprise that number 1 is Nemesis Immortal, also known as Nemesis Enforcer. I love this figure. I love this figure so much, I made a review that almost nobody watched just to talk about how cool this figure was. Like, I don't know, I was feeling down, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to review this figure I just got, because he's amazing. So if you want to see full details on him, like, there's a whole video review on him. It's just, I love the update to the original design. It was one of the characters I wanted to see in this line, because he's such a cool character, he's such a cool design, and he's just so underappreciated in a lot of ways. And so having like Nemesis Enforcer in the line in such a great design, and one that like simultaneously debuted in the Cobra Commander comic, is just cherry on top. It really is cool, and I have nothing bad to say about the figure besides the fact that it was a Pulse exclusive and sold out too quick for a lot of people. It's just terrific. I mean, it's my absolute favorite figure of the year, no matter what. That fact will never change, because it's just so cool. So here is the G.I. Joe shelf as it is now, which is not a permanent setup in any means. I mean, there's a Cobra Rattler coming this year, so this is going to definitely change. But I thought, let's just kind of take a look. The problem with this line is also one of its strengths, which is that every figure is frickin' great. There's very few stinkers in this line, so when I was putting this together, I was like, oh, let me just put out the best figures. Well, there's like 100 figures up here because they're so good. It's kind of like, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. But I tried to make like this, you know, Cobra versus Joe type setup, obviously. Worked in some story elements, you know, Duke out here, front and center in the field of battle, whereas Cobra is, you know, Cobra Commander is hiding behind his dudes, his grunts. You know, there's a lot of that going on. You know, I just kind of like made a battle android trooper, a bat, just kind of broke apart there. The idea is kind of like, you know, here's Cobra, and then here's G.I. Joe. And of course, I had to start by putting, you know, giant vehicles in, like the Dragonfly. So I got Wild Bill and Glinda, you know, Ripcord jumping off, Airborne hanging out over here trying to take out this bat that's trying to sabotage their systems. I don't know exactly where this rocket is targeted. Oh yeah, it's the Stinger. So it's trying to take out the Stinger, because the Stinger's got 4 rockets on it. So you got a Major Blood and Shadow Tracker back there. Kind of thought it'd be fun to put Firefly in the Stinger, since he's got the color scheme matching going on, which I thought was pretty cool. So kind of things like that. There's some other things I did that I don't totally love necessarily. It's like Alpine, he's a climbing guy, so I have him climbing on the helicopter, which, you know, at least it balances the weight out. You can see we've got kind of a Night Force setup here, because like there's Crazy Legs, there's Wolf Spider, there's Quarrel, there's Big Ben, and then, you know, Parliament, just kidding, it's Falcon, and then also Shooter. So they're kind of like all the Night Force guys are on like an op with the Dragonfly. Kind of the idea there. We got Slaughter here. Slaughter going up against the Crimson Twins, because they kind of like debuted in a similar sense around the same time. You can see like Shockwave down here is not in Night Force colors, to like the original colors, but I kind of had this idea. It's like, oh, Shockwave kind of proved himself here, so then later he joins Night Force, that kind of idea. And just kind of like, you know, the Dreadnoks are just voguing back here, I guess. I kind of want to put them on their own shelf because they kind of have their own like vibe going on. And there's kind of an overwhelming amount of Cobra in a lot of ways. Like, I don't know what to do with the Snow Serpent. He's just chilling back there because he looks too cool to leave out. Of course, you got the Hiss Tank. Thought about having the Hiss Tank pull the HMS, but that wasn't really going to work out. I kind of have like Scrap Iron like going with this thing as opposed to his drone. Kind of for spacing. Metalhead, a figure I actually don't like that much. I think all those rockets on him is a cool idea, but they're just so floppy and loose. You're getting extra commentary here. I can kind of see, like, I didn't also know how to pose them because now his rockets are going like straight into a Techno Viper. So I got kind of like the Vipers scattered, Crocmaster and Fiona. Fiona's just down there because, again, I kind of start running out of space, but I still wanted to include some figures. Of course, the Stinger. You can see we've got, like, you know, Serpentor on his chariot, Nemesis Immortal there in front. Kind of that sort of thing. You got Mindbender behind Serpentor. I really wish the Trouble Bubble had a flight stand because it just kind of looks silly like that, but I was like, all right, the Televiper's getting ready to take off. Whereas you got Baroness, Storm Shadow, you know, Destro's, you know, Iron Grenadiers, Ninjas scattered throughout. A lot of these guys up front are more of the, like, army builder types. Tried to include one of each just for fun. Put some blast effect parts on some of them, kind of like the, you know, obviously, like, this range Viper's not going to be shooting from back here. He'd, like, shoot through the bat. So I've kind of try to keep it, like, logistically sound. And then, of course, on the G.I. Joe side, everybody's a named character, which is super fun. I paired up some. I put, like, Storm Shadow and Spirit together to kind of, like, do the rivalry of, like, them back in the original cartoon. So I kind of put that together. But then, of course, Storm Shadow Snake Eyes and Snake Eyes Scarlet, Scarlet Jinx. You know, there's kind of a whole thing, you know, Flint and Lady J. So I kind of tried to pair them up together. Oh, yeah, Kamakura, Snake Eyes, and Timber. So, you know, all kind of going together. Timber, you know, with Junkyard, that kind of idea. I got Low Light. He's going to, like, fire a precise shot, like, past all of this and then take out, like, a Cobra. That's the idea. Of course, Joe's with Weird Jobs is this category because we got, you know, Shipwreck. He's a sailor. You got Torpedo. He's a diver. Barbecue. He's a firefighter. And Snow Job. He's a skier. These guys just don't fit in this battle because their jobs aren't necessary for this part of the battle. Down here, Chuckles is being seen by Doc because I thought, you know, Chuckles has that beat up face. So I was like, oh, perfect. He can be the one Doc's working on to give Doc a thing. Tripwire, he's a minesweeper, but, like, you know, there's full out combat. Santa's here. Santa's helping out. And, you know, got the Vamp in the back here. So I decided to have Clutch and Rock and Roll. Now, two reasons. One, Clutch came with the Vamp. Second, Clutch and Rock and Roll had, like, this cool partnership in the Energon Universe comics, so I decided to play to that. Kind of added Cover Girls, like, she's ready for repairs, and then Grunt is on the guns because, you know, it's Grunt. And then, you know, some of it, like, you know, General Hawk, Beachhead. Roadblock is leaning against the Vamp because he doesn't stand well. Stalker. Nunchuck is a ninja. Helix does ninja stuff. Quick Kick does martial arts. So you can kind of see where the through line is there. There's, like, Outback, Dusty, Gung Ho, that sort of thing. Kind of trying to keep it together. You know, I picked regular Tunnel Rat versus the Night Force because the Night Force doesn't have the face paint, and I like the regular because of that. Breaker on the bike. You know, Mutt and Junkyard. Where is Wreckage? There's Wreckage. I kept a couple Tiger Force out because with Tiger Force and Python Patrol, they kind of almost need their own shell because I bought most of them. But I was like, no, Wreckage is a new character, and he's really cool, and I had his toy as a kid, so he needed to be out here. Where did I put Rakondo? I know Rakondo's here somewhere. Yeah, there's Rakondo. He's all the way back there. That's the Tiger Force one, because I thought the regular colors was more bland. And Bazooka. Gave Bazooka an effect, and he is shooting a bazooka right into this Crimson Guard's face. So, you know, overkill sometimes works. And then, oh yeah, a couple Steel Core. So, I think, what is this? This is Steel... No, that's the Twilight. Is that the Twilight Guard? No, it was like this something Steel Core. It was like a variant. And then the female Steel Core from the Trooper Pack. And they're on jetpacks. The idea I had was that, like, oh, Steel Core, they're like jetpack dudes. So they jumped in to come help Duke up at the front. So, yeah, that's kind of where the G.I. Joe display is this year. Obviously, next year it will be different. And if this video did well, then there'll be another top 10 next year. Oh, I forgot to mention Raptor. Oh yeah, I put Raptor up here. And I don't know if it's just because, you know, Captain America came out recently, where he was using his wings as shields and stuff. I thought, oh, Raptor's getting like intel from his bird, right? So then the wing is kind of covering him and shielding him. So pretty cool. Yeah, well, of course it's going to change. Like, you know, I'm going to probably have to take the Cobra sight apart, put the Rattler in, and then just figure out who fits around and on it and in it, that kind of thing. But for now, that's the G.I. Joe display. And yeah, we'll see, probably do a follow-up next year if this top 10 did well. Also, production fun fact, I haven't filmed the top 10 yet, so if I accidentally repeat details here that I already talked about in the top 10, my bad. I shot this first, because that way when I go to pull figures, if something falls over, I already filmed it so that the collection looks nice. That's your behind-the-scenes trivia for now. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm ending on Duke and Cobra Commander because I thought, oh, let me get out the 10 that are my top 10, and then I realized like a bunch of them are in the display, and I'm not putting the Dragonfly in this display right now. If you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments. Please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. It's like crucial if you want to see more G.I. Joe videos on the channel. But if you want to continue the conversation, you can join our Discord server in the link below. If you want to help support the channel directly, we have channel memberships available with early access to videos, member-exclusive live streams, and other cool perks. Think about it while we give a special shout-out to our channel members. Special shout-out to all of our channel members, including Captain Tier, Spin-54, Toma K, MasterBin95, Super Shaddix Boom, Forever1000, Michael Flores, Common Spidey, Jamie's World, The Clueless Collector, Mr. Smelly Potato, Vigo, Common Pikachu, Colm Creed, Spidey Brian, BV Universe Official, Philip Saruno, Ben Odinson, Mars the Star Droid, EZP3R, K Breezy, Shinji, Nerdy Texas Accountant, Cam Strickland, Common Jojo, EasyTo727, Greg Harris, and Matchas Dent. Also special shout out to our new Commander tiers, The Man of Movies, Jess Zayden, and Brendan Overland. Thank you everybody for your support of this channel, both channel members and viewers alike. If you so wish, I'm on social media at Blue Sky and Discord at Soundout12. My wonderful graphic designer is on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for toy news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, Yo, Joe!